Hello, everyone, and welcome to UCR's MBA and Professional MBA Spotlight. Today, I'm joined by several of our world-class faculty. They are here to share some insights on the MBA curriculum and the MBA experience. We have, again, six of our faculty joining us, and I'm going to go ahead and ask them to each one introduce themselves, share a little bit about their experience, and their research and industry experience as well.
Great. So I'll get started. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Marlo Raveendran, and I'm an associate professor in management. I did my PhD in London Business School. I joined UCR as my first job in 2013, and I'm still here. I just got tenure, so I'm here to stay as well. I'm very excited about that. In my research, I do corporate strategy and especially a focus on organization design. So I study how we divide labor and how the task division and task allocation influences how we work with each other, how that generates interdependence and coordination and cooperation problems, and how all of that together affects performance. That's the research. In terms of teaching, I teach at all the different levels. I teach undergrads, a competitive analysis course. I teach the core strategy course for MBA students. It's one of my favorite courses to teach. I also created a corporate strategy elective that I teach on and off, and then I teach some PhD level courses. That's about it.
Hi, a very warm welcome to all of you. And Marlo, thank you. She is being very modest, guys. She's an amazing teacher, and students just love her in the classroom. So my name is Ashish Sood. I am an associate professor in the marketing area. I teach the introduction core class, Introduction to Marketing, as well as an elective on pricing. I'm an engineer by training, and I worked in the industry before I started my PhD for about 11 years. I worked in different roles in many different companies in the Asia Pacific. In fact, I also did my MBA part-time, so I understand the tough challenges you will be having to make, adjusting your life, your careers, along with acquiring new education. But believe me, it's important, and it really pays well. I have taught for many years now. In fact, I've been with UCR since 2015. Prior to that, I've been at Emory University. I worked at Wharton, and I've taught at many international universities as well. My research interests are in the intersection of marketing and high-tech industries. So how do technologies evolve? How do they compete? And we bring all of that industry learnings, industry experience into the classroom through various experiential activities.
Thank you, Ashish. I'm Jean Helwege. I hold the Anderson Chair in Finance. I've been a professor here since 2015, and I was a lot older. It's not my first job like Marlo's. So my first job after getting my PhD at UCLA back in the late 80s was with the government. I worked for the Federal Reserve Board for a decade. And I've been in academia since then. So I've worked at Ohio State, Arizona, South Carolina, and now UC Riverside. My research interest is mostly in corporate bonds and credit risk. And related to that, I do some work in banking and corporate finance. So I would say, since I've been in academia such a long time, my practitioner background is pretty old and out of touch in some ways, but I'm the advisor to the finance club on campus. That club is for both undergraduates and graduates, and we have a real money portfolio that the students manage, and so I'm the advisor to that as well. And so that makes me a little bit of a practitioner, although the stuff is run completely by the students. I'm just there to give advice.
So hi, a very good evening to everyone. My name is Professor Naman Desai, and I am the academic director of the MPAC program at UCR. I started my career as an auditor in India. I worked as an auditor for about 5 years, and then came to the US, got a PhD in accounting, went to Florida State University for my PhD. And then after having worked at the University of Central Florida, I went back to India, where I joined the top institute there, which is the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad. And during my tenure at IIM, I have done a lot of consulting assignments with some very large companies across a broad spectrum of industries. After that, I have joined UCR in 2020. And I am a teaching faculty at UCR, and I teach several courses in the MPAC and the MBA program.
So my name is Elodie Goodman. I'm a professor in the area of operations and supply chain management. So in terms of how I got started in my career, I have a diploma of engineering from France, and I got my PhD in operations research from MIT. And after that, when I graduated, I joined the position at the University of Illinois, Chicago. I was there for 6 years in industrial engineering. And then I made the switch to business when I joined UCR in 2012. So I've been at UCR since then. So my research is these days, like last few years, I've been focusing on healthcare operations management, how to design payment systems, to give the right incentives for different agents, such as patients, physicians, insurers, to try to incentivize good decisions, reduce inefficiencies. In terms of teaching, I've taught at the graduate level at UCR. I've taught a PhD class. I taught an elective on spreadsheet modeling, but in the last several years, I've been mostly teaching the core class, Management 201, the quantitative analysis, basically introduction to statistics. So all of you listening to me, a good chance you're going to have to take one of my classes. It's one of the first steps.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much for the introduction. What a wealth of research and knowledge that you all bring to the table. Really quickly, I'll go over just some basics of the MBA or Professional MBA curriculum. Our MBA program is ranked number 89 according to US News and World Report this year. Our MBA program consists of a required internship. So that's really exciting news. It means that when you graduate, you will be coming out of our program with some industry experience, no matter the amount of experience that you come into our program with. Our students are also getting amazing internships during their programs at the Walt Disney Company, at Meta, Northrop Grumman, the Fox Corporation, and more. Also a part of our program is a career development course for our full-time MBA program. And there you'll get some nice skills to help identify where you want to go in your career. Additionally, in the program, there's a capstone or thesis course. The curriculum is comprised of 9 core courses and 6 concentration offerings, all of those 6. And we have amazing faculty here to share a little bit more in depth of each one of those concentrations. Next, I'm going to invite Dr. Sood to speak a little bit more about the MBA and Professional MBA curriculum. How is it structured? What will the students learn? I shared a little bit more about that, but he'll kind of speak from a higher level about the MBA curriculum.
Sure. Thank you, Abigail. Yeah, so let me share a little bit details about the curriculum. In fact, it's such a vast topic. I could be spending the next 1 hour going into details about the curriculum, but I don't think I'm allowed that much of a time. So let me, as Abigail says, take that high view and give you the basic information that will help you at this point. So as you know that we have 2 different types of MBA programs that we offer currently. We have the full-time MBA program, and we have the professional MBA program. The full-time MBA program is, as the name suggests, allows you to take all the courses in a shorter period of time by devoting all of your time and energy full-time to the MBA program. There are many of us in our university, in our school, which are also working full-time, and they cannot take out enough time. So for those, we also have the professional MBA program that allows you much more flexibility to join our program, take the classes either on weekday evenings or weekends. So we work with you, to build in that flexibility and let you finish either your full-time or your professional MBA between 27 to 33 months. We do accept the applications throughout the fall, winter, and spring entry into the MBA programs. And we accept undergrad majors from all different specializations. In fact, there is a very rigorous admission process. So let me give you some insights into how to actually get a good, easy admission offer from us. The first thing that we are looking for is your undergrad degree. So please do share where you did your undergrad degree. What did you like about it? What did you enjoy? What did you learn from there? We really encourage you to share more details about your undergrad years, your specializations. We do not have any requirement for GMAT or a GRE. We waive that, but if you've already taken that, or if you're planning to take that, we welcome that information as well. For those of you who work in the industry, share with us your professional journey, right? Make sure you put in enough attention into creating a coherent story, telling your side of why you want to do an MBA, and that really is our way of getting to know about you. Right? We will call you for interviews wherever possible, and we would like to know more. We want to find a good fit for the students in our school, right? So we're looking for that potential fit where once you join, you have a good, nice learning environment where you are successful in that entire experience. Once the MBA starts, well, we have many people, many students who come from very large, diverse backgrounds. Some of us have a quant background, we've taken courses, and we are very good with numbers. Still others, we have a more managerial focus, and we've done some math, but it's been some years. So we work with both. We have some programs where we'll let you learn, upgrade your skills so that you don't feel very tough coming in and taking those courses. Still, some of us are like rational, sequential thinkers, others more innovative, more creative. So you all bring different strengths, different skills to the MBA program. And whatever strength you bring, remember one thing, that's what I tell my students again and again. It's important to strengthen what your natural strengths are, but it's also important, and this is one safe time to acquire new skills. So experiment, look at new ideas, learn from your peers. They're all very driven students who are also attending our classes. So once the courses start, we have 9 courses which form the basic common body of knowledge. So those core courses will be across many different areas: accounting, finance, information systems, management, marketing, operations, supply chain. You'll have those core courses. And then we have a large body of elective courses to cater to diverse interests, various long-term and short-term goals, your career goals. So we will guide you. We have a big group who's dedicated to helping you select the right set of courses for you so that you can find your own concentration that will work for you.
We're going to move now to talk more about the concentration. So, if you're a full-time MBA student in your first year, you may be taking those wide breadth of classes in all areas of business. But then in your second year, you get to focus your elective units on a particular concentration, if you'd like. So I'm going to ask all of the professors here if they could share about a little bit more about the concentration areas. How do the areas of concentration help set up students for desired skills within a different career path?
Yes. So in operations and supply chain, you can kind of take one of two different tracks, I would say. You have one direction that where the courses that you take might be about production, procurement, logistics, supply chain, project management. So I would say these are more soft skills oriented, kind of giving you a general knowledge of that industry to help you get prepared for positions such as operations manager, procurement manager, and things like that. And then you also have another track that's a little bit more quantitative, where, I'm sure you've all heard the term big data. This is really big these days. Companies are really looking for potential employees that have those quantitative skills. And so you can find in operations more of those courses that will give you those skills. We have a business analytics class that's really popular. We have a modeling and simulation class. We have a spreadsheet modeling class. So those will give you the quantitative tools, the technology aspect that a lot of employers are looking for. And then you can use these skills to find jobs in management consulting, in strategy, in business analytics, which are really in very high demand.
So when it comes to the discipline of accounting, there are two interfaces. One is an external information reporting interface and an internal decision-making interface. And if we think about the concentration packages that we offer at UCR, we prepare the students to be experts in either one of those interfaces or both of them. So the external reporting interfaces are the ones that deal with the financial reporting process, the auditing process, and the taxation processes. And if you go to our website, you will find these list of courses which will prepare you for taking jobs in either of these disciplines. And then the internal decision-making interface typically involves strategic cost management, cost control, and managerial accounting. And again, if you go to the MBA website, we have prepared a bundle of courses which will prepare you to take up jobs in those types of areas. So based on what we offer, we have almost all our bases covered when it comes to the accounting discipline. Thank you. I will pass it on to Ashish.
Yeah. In marketing, we have basically students who are either focused on the digital marketing or they are focused more on marketing research. Marketing as a field has changed quite a bit in the last decade or so. It has become integrated advances in computer science, technology, as well as statistics. So on one hand, we are using more and more of technology. On the other hand, we are also getting a lot of data and having access to all of data, using different models to understand consumer behavior, developing new innovative marketing strategies. So these are two tracks, the digital marketing pathway. It focuses on giving you skills like search engine optimization, PPC marketing, analytics, or strategy. On the other hand, if you take the market research career pathway, then that automatically prepares you to help firms use information to devise new marketing strategies, using marketing intelligence, analyzing the outcomes of campaigns, optimizing of different research programs, research projects, and so on. And for each of those concentrations, we will also advise you the different sequence of courses that you should take to get those specializations.
So we tend to think of classes in finance or careers in finance being split into two topics, investments or corporate finance. So investments exist as an industry because there are many people out there who have money that want to invest it, but don't know how to invest it. So they could put it into a mutual fund or an ETF. If they have a lot of money, they could go to a private bank. They might go with an insurance company who gives them an annuity. But in any case, there are a number of investing companies out there that help pick stocks or bonds or venture capital or some other type of way to put money to work so that it pays off later on. And so those tend to be more quantitative than other finance jobs. Some of them are all about testing out ways to make the most money, but also those jobs can also involve a lot of sales, because when you have to convince somebody that you can manage their money, frequently there's a lot of building of confidence and relationships. And so in the investments industry, you have both very extremely quantitative positions and very personality driven positions. So the alternative to your alternative is corporate finance. And then we'd be talking about one company and how they finance their business. So it could be a company like Apple, as they're thinking about creating new iPhones or other products that they're always innovating. They need to get the money to do that. Well, they have a lot of earnings from their existing businesses, so they could mostly use retained equity, but they could also go out and issue bonds or get a bank loan to finance new projects. Or they could also go out and get a bank loan and buy back some stocks, share repurchases in order to change their capital structure. So corporate finance is, if you work in corporate finance, you typically work for one company and you work on how they should deal with their financial issues. And that could also involve budgeting and forecasting and jobs like that. And then there are some professions that are kind of in between the two. So we don't usually think of banking as an investments job, a commercial bank, because they don't invest in stocks, and the assets they invest in are typically loans that are traded securities. So it's a little bit of both. It's also a highly regulated industry, and they help companies, individual companies that need financing. So they connect a lot with the corporate finance side of things. And so I'd say that still, for the most part, thinking about investments or corporate finance is the best way to describe it. And so for investments, you definitely want to take our Management 252 class, which is, I think it's called investments, fixed income, derivatives, courses like that. For the corporate finance one, you still need to know about investments and fixed income, but we also have a corporate finance cases class. And you would be also thinking about taking the seminar on corporate finance.
You're seeing a trend here. So I'm going to talk about two different kinds of topics as well, of course. It sounds like we're very organized in our MBA. So for management, this really means that we are talking kind of about, we call it in the academia, we call it micro and macro, but let me make this much more concrete. In a way, it's about employees and people and management of people on the one hand, and then the other side is more strategy, institutions, and entrepreneurship. So it's really those two tracks. The first one we call organization behavior. So there you would be focusing on employee relations. You would be focusing on negotiations, culture, diversity. How do you get the most out of your employees by motivating them in a way that is constructive, productive, and all-inclusive? It is really focusing on your skills in becoming an effective manager and leader of people. The other side is strategy. And of course, you can mix and match, and you should, because to be a good manager, you need both. On the more strategy entrepreneurship, like macro side, we are talking about really understanding the institutions in its context of the market, its customers, its the CEOs, and probably then we go to Gene and the corporate finance side of things. And it's really trying to understand the company in its context and its environment, forecasting, how do we change our strategy? Who do we target? How do we figure out what we should be doing in this environment where we have no information or very bad information, very limited information? How do we make strategic decisions? What I get excited about, and that's clearly my area, as you can tell, is to teach my students to think in the absence of perfect information. It is so uncomfortable, but really what you learn in these strategy courses is really to figure out how to comprehend and how to make sense of an environment that you have to deal with in this moment. You can't say, oh, I'll make the decision in 2 years. As the CEO of the top management team, you have to make this decision now. And that's really what we're preparing you to think about, the organization in its context and all the different implications that might have. So in terms of jobs, you're looking obviously at consulting, because you can then tell all other sorts of companies how to do things and what to do. So you'd be building all your critical thinking skills and just apply them in different contexts. You're also thinking of positions inside any large or medium-sized organizations that has middle and upper management, which is where we are pushing through the MBA. We're pushing you up into those higher level management positions in order to then take the company forward and move the strategic directions in whatever way you think the market is moving. One last thing I want to mention is that in strategy, in a way, covering what Ashish mentioned about marketing, how everything is changing and shifting, for us, in management and strategy specifically, we are really pushing to redefine how we define value. If you think about the last 20 years, value was really defined as maximizing shareholder profit. We are scraping that and we're saying, yes, shareholder profit is important because that's the capital, but we also need to maximize the value for our customers, for our employees, for our society, and for the planet. So we're really creating value in a much more combined shared value perspective. And that's what you're going to be focusing on if you go for management.
Wonderful. As you can see, there are so many different options that you really have at your fingertips when exploring the MBA program. And the good news is you don't have to decide today which one you want to do, but as you get into your MBA program and start to take those different courses, you can get a feel for each one of these areas, and then you can decide, okay, I love this and I want to go into this direction. And you also want to be thinking about the types of jobs that you want to be getting afterwards, which our professors just described for us so clearly, the career paths to get there. So thank you for that. Next, we're going to touch on teaching methodologies. Can you describe the type of teaching methodologies used for instruction in the MBA classroom? And we're going to go to Dr. Goodman and then Dr. Raveendran.
Okay, so I'm going to talk here mostly about my Management 201 class. So the quantitative analysis class, which is a required course for the MBA program. So in that class, it's very much lecture-based in the sense that we go over concepts, and it's an introduction to statistics class. So there are some fairly mathematical concepts that we go over. We talk about probability, kind of in a theoretical sense, but I try very hard to introduce a lot of examples that are business-based, so that even though it can seem very abstract and very theoretical, it is really rooted in its applications to practice and to business examples. So a typical class will go over a given, let's say, probability concept, and then we'll do some examples together as a class. I often will take some short breaks, and I'll kind of give an exercise, and I give a few minutes for students to work on that exercise either by themselves or as a pair. And then after a few minutes, I go over the solution, I give time for questions, and then we move on to the next thing. So in my class, we don't do case studies, but we kind of go through the concepts, practice them on problems, and then leave always time for questions that students might have.
Great. So I'm going to talk about the case-based method then. That's perfect.
I figured.
So I'm going to talk about strategic management, the core strategy course for MBA students. It's one of my favorite classes to teach because the core the constructs, the frameworks we teach are extremely simple. Where it becomes complicated is then how to apply them to real-world examples on uncertain situations. How do you make sense of them? So the way case-based classes really work is you read a case, you prepare it carefully, you have questions to think through the case with those questions so that you are ready to kind of jump into the discussion, and we use the Socratic method in order to just really pull information, not in terms of regurgitating what's in the case, but really analyzing and thinking through these cases together. What makes this exciting is that the students will bring their own experience, their own point of view, and their own background into these discussions. And that's really what opens up really wonderful, creative, and different solutions every time we teach these cases. In my courses specifically, I make sure that the cases are recent. There might be one or two very classic ones because they are the best way to really come at a very difficult topic. For example, I teach a case on Marvel, which is not the most novel company anymore, but we really can go through the entire history, and we have a couple of interviews that were recorded with the CEO at the time that really pulled and changed everything around. So great insight into the history of an organization, but otherwise the cases will be from the last year. I often bring in TED videos and talks from different perspectives in terms of diversity and the shared value that I talked about. But really the case method is all about you as the students talking. I know that can sound frightening. I, as a student, hated talking in classes. I actually refused. I would never talk because I would just get so nervous. I would just shut down. But I've become pretty good at getting people, even those students that probably feel like I felt back then, to get them integrated, to get them talking to me. And bit by bit, you'll realize that you can do this. And this is another business school skill to learn that you need to speak up eventually. And we're going to create an environment in which that is feasible and comfortable. And at the end of those 10 weeks, I always see huge transformations in all my students, both in terms of the ability and willingness to engage, to speak up in front of 70 people, and also their critical thinking ability in terms of the one thing I always tell my students, I don't really care whether you remember any of the frameworks, you can Google them. What I care about is that when you read business news, you see the world in a different way after those 10 weeks. And that is generally true. So the case-based method really helps with that. That's all I have.
Wonderful. Again, so, these teaching methodologies are really helping to bring out your technical, hard skills, and then also your soft skills, presentations, teamwork, critical thinking, those kinds of things. That's exactly what an MBA education is for. And our teachers are employing methods to help bring those things out. Next, let's talk about why UCR. What are the factors that make UCR and our MBA programs unique? Why choose us?
There are a few obvious factors that have already been highlighted. First, we have a top-notch, highly qualified faculty pool teaching in the MBA program. Also, all the faculty members have a strong sense of ownership of the program, which translates into a great class experience, whether it is teaching through cases, teaching through textbooks. We all tend to put in our best effort, and we all feel it's our program, and we need to make sure that it is considered amongst the best out there. Right. So that is one thing. Second, we are in a great location. If you think about the Inland Empire, it's growing both economically and commercially, and which provides several opportunities across a wide variety of industries. So, the population is exploding. The types of companies that are coming into this area is also is increasing, right? So which creates these diversified job opportunities in different industries. We also have a very diversified student pool where, because when it comes to MBA learnings, it is not just the professor teaching in class, but it is also experiential learning where the students tend to learn from each other's experiences, right? So considering the type of students that we are able to recruit into the program, that again provides very unique learning opportunities, which again makes the whole experience quite rich.
So I think I just thank you so much. That was a beautiful description already. Just to add a couple of other things from UCR, our staff are just fantastic, and they are just as engaged and involved in our programs as the faculty are. So on the one hand, we have this amazing admissions team that is really on point always. They're quick, they're personalized, they know exactly how to help you, and they are very, very good at just answering your questions, getting you ready, getting you set up for perfection so that we have all the information we need to create the best MBA class possible for our school. Then we have a fantastic careers center. They help you both with placements after graduation, but also with that the internship that is required as part of our program that Abigail mentioned at the beginning. We are really good at pulling different companies from the Inland Empire, but also into Irvine. Irvine has a huge presence of very big companies in healthcare and technology. And so we are able to really connect you to a whole bunch of different companies there. I just want to make that point one more time. You already made it, but the student body is just wonderful at UCR. It is so diverse. It is so engaged. It is, in a way, just here to learn, and you can feel that on campus. It is really a community rather than a competition. This is not the cutthroat, I stab you in the back, you stab me in mine kind of feeling here in the MBA program and the undergraduate program across the entire campus. It really feels like a very diverse but very unified community, and I think that is really something that just shines at UCR.
And I just want to add one more thing. If you're not from the area, we are a fun place to be at. We are very short driving distance from a lot of fun activities, fun locations. You can be on the coast in the morning, you can be in the snow in the afternoon, and you can be in the desert in the evening if you want to, okay? And if you're more adventurous, you can be in Vegas in 3 hours. So, so if you're not local, yes, we are a very fun place to be at with lots to offer. Yeah.
But let me add, wherever you go, you better get back to class in time. Because the classes...
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And again, just our location is really unique. Sitting in the Inland Empire, an hour east of Los Angeles, our students are getting jobs not only in LA, Irvine, Orange County, San Diego. Our students are getting jobs in San Francisco, in the Bay Area, and then of course in the Inland Empire. There's a thriving community, a lot of manufacturing companies and big companies in this area that you can have the unique opportunity of getting into. One other thing that we like to say about our faculty is not only are they excellent researchers and scholars and practitioners, but they're passionate about their content and they care about your success. I want to ask a couple of our professors to share why they love teaching in their area of expertise. We'll start with Dr. Goodman.
Yeah, so what I like, one of the things I really like about the course that I teach is that for some students, and I think Ashish talked about this before, we have the students who are very strong in their hard skills and come here to improve on their soft skills, and then you have the other way around. So when students take my class, which is very quantitative, there's always some students who are kind of a little worried, when they start out, because it's very quantitative. For them, it's like the math class, and I can tell that they're worried about having to take math again after sometimes many years. And so what I really enjoy is showing them that, first of all, it's within their reach, and also that it's not just a math class. It's using those mathematical concepts with a goal and with a purpose that's very much connected to their MBA education. So it's not just learning math for the sake of learning math. It's learning math for the sake of understanding how to do a linear regression, which can help us understand how to price. So there is always that connection. And so I think it helps accepting that, oh yeah, we have to take this class. It's important. It's going to be useful. And this is why. So now I understand why they make me go through this. And I realize that it's going to help me in my marketing class. It's going to help me in my finance class. It's going to help me in so many other topics because it has that connection to the rest of the business content.
Yes, so I'm next, right? And so I teach way fewer students than Elodie does. She's got the core class that everybody takes, and I teach fixed income, which is a required class if you choose finance as your concentration, but not everybody chooses that. And what I like about fixed income is two things. One, it has a lot of very tangible math to it. So bond math has got formulas that have been around for ages and still work perfectly. And so it is a lot of fun to be able to apply the knowledge, general finance knowledge, to these very specific problems. So I like that a lot. But also, the other thing about fixed income is that it really is very closely tied to current events and what's going on in our economy. So I'm sure you all noticed that we had 8% inflation in the last couple of months. And because of that inflation, the Federal Reserve has been raising interest rates. And that's a sort of topic that's super important for anything in fixed income. And so what we work on in that class is trying to predict what the Fed will do, what will happen to interest rates, how much money you make or lose when interest rates change, how much extra you need to charge in case a company or a person is likely to default on their debt. But it's still very broad about economics and the US in general. So current events are super important for it. So it's a wonderful combination of very down-to-earth tangible math and very big picture economics, politics. And so I enjoy teaching that a lot, and I hope to see you in my class in the future.
Okay, that's me now. So the question is, why do you love teaching your area of expertise? And my area of expertise is marketing. I like teaching marketing because I enjoy it. That's the short answer. I really enjoy it. I enjoy marketing. Marketing is concerned with people. We want to understand our consumers. We want to know everything about our consumers. What do they buy? Why do they buy? Where do they buy? How do they buy? When do they buy? What do they do after they buy? What do they do before they buy? What do they do when they like the product or don't like the product, right? What do they want to buy? Everything. So it's all about people. And that's what we bring to the classrooms. We make those conversations. We try to understand. But then once we have an understanding of what the consumers want, the next step is to actually deliver it. And that's where you start devising strategies. You get into new product development, you get into innovation, you get into creating competitive advantages, taking care of competition. So that's where that links with my training in engineering. And that's where, again, it becomes interesting to me. So on the personal side, that's why I just enjoy teaching. And I guess I didn't tell you a whole lot much why, but I think when you get into the class and you are able to find your own niche, what makes you tick? Maybe it is finance, maybe it is strategy, maybe it is accounting, maybe it is marketing, whatever it is, you will start enjoying those classes. You would like to read more news from it, those textbooks, those classrooms, that have those discussions. And that's where it becomes a lot of fun. And those 2 years really pass very fast.
Absolutely, absolutely. And hopefully this will just be the spark of a career committed to lifelong learning in these different areas. Wonderful. So that will conclude our panel session. There are a couple of questions in the chat. One in particular, I'd like to ask any one of our professor panelists here today to talk about teaching assistant opportunities. Maybe if any of you have had a teaching assistant, what is a typical day like for the teaching assistant? What type of responsibilities or things will they do?
Well, I guess I can answer that one since I haven't had a teaching assistant, but I am pretty familiar with the work that goes on with that. So, in our larger undergraduate classes, there's a lecture typically twice a week, and then the smaller groups meet in discussions. And so those discussions for a little bit shorter, but those are led by the TAs. And I was a TA at UCLA way back when. And so the ideal thing is to expand on the information that the students learned in the lecture and help them work through problems and get ready for the material that they'll be tested on. So typically, if you're assigned as a teaching assistant as a way to get financial aid for being in our program, you typically would be doing 2 classes in a quarter. And so you'd be meeting twice a week with 2 different groups of students to work on the material that's associated with the lecture.
At the online perspective, I teach an undergraduate course that is fully online, pre-pandemic, not only for the pandemic. And there I have MBA students being teaching assistants. This was my first experience ever having a teaching assistant. It was marvelous. So in that context, they don't actually teach classes because this was an asynchronous class, but they help with the discussion boards and the grading of the weekly papers.
Thank you. Wonderful. I'm going to go ahead and dismiss our fabulous faculty at this point. Thank you so much for joining us today and being here to share all these insights on the MBA program. I hope everybody found it really valuable. Thank you, professors, for being with us.
Hi, everybody. Good night.
Thank you very much. Good night.
Good night.
You may have noticed that we had all of our concentrations represented here today, with the exception of our information systems faculty. Unfortunately, Dr. Yueh is busy with a class right now, but he has joined us to give us a little bit of an insight into his classroom that he is teaching right now. You get a sneak peek into a live MBA classroom. We'll invite him to share a little bit with us about who he is, the classes he teaches, and we get to see his classroom.
Okay, hello. Can you all hear me?
We can hear you.
Awesome. Welcome, attendees. Sorry for the mic quality here in this room, but welcome, attendees, to a real live classroom. This is our newest building on campus. This is the Student Success Center, so SSC, room 308. I have the camera zoomed all the way out so you can see what a classroom looks like. And then for teaching, the camera would look something like this, right? So hello, there's a camera in the back. Abby sent me a list of questions before this. I totally forgot what they were, so I'm just gonna start talking. She asked me to talk about my teaching and research background. So I started here in UCR in 2018 out of my PhD program. And I teach information systems, which is the intersection of business and technology and how you can use technology in the field of business. I'm rebooting my research right now, but I do want to focus on education and technology.
Wonderful. And Dr. Yueh, why do you love teaching information systems at UCR?
I love teaching information systems because we get to work with so much cool technology. So for example, let me go ahead and back this out. This is my office, right? I have 2 monitors. Each one is like 80 inches wide, and not everyone gets to say that. My classes change every quarter, and it's really cool meeting all these new people and then seeing different ways of how they can use technology in their own fields, whether it's IS or accounting or finance or marketing or management.
Awesome. And then could you also share with us a little bit about the information systems concentration and different career paths that they might be able to pursue within that concentration?
Yes. So if you've seen anything on job postings like business analytics, data analytics, product manager, all of that is rooted in information systems. So really what we're talking about in information systems is how to create a process or how to drive a process to implement or use technology in a business. So can you use information systems in technology? Sure. Can you use information systems in something like management or marketing? Also, yes, right? I just said to the class earlier tonight, if you know how to use data analysis software or data visualization software, you are more competitive than your peers when you go out into marketing or management, and you can work with that marketing data. In terms of the curriculum, we have a few different courses. We do have a specific business analytics track that I think is coming up. We have a database course, we have Python programming, we have product management. And so this is a good way to get a foundation. And then if you want to concentrate in IS, we have that as well. Or you can take a few IS electives and then bring that back into your home concentration.
Awesome. Wonderful. Dr. Yueh, what are you teaching tonight? What's the topic?
We're talking about tech industry fundamentals. So right now we're talking about the agile process and how that works.
Awesome. That is a fun class. I have sat in on that class before. It's a good one, He's one of our favorite professors at the UCR School of Business, so highly recommend, well, you take his course. You'll have to for an MBA.
Sorry. Required course, sorry.
You'll have to take it for a required course, yes, but you'll love it, so don't worry. Dr. Yueh, do you have anything else to share? Otherwise, we can wrap things up. This is so awesome to see your class, get a little taste of what it might be like to be there.
Nothing else to share. Just for all attendees present, we have an excellent admissions team and advising team. So any questions you may have, just let them know. And then students in the class, if you want to turn around and wave to that white camera right there. All of these students, this is their first class of the quarter. And so they're happy to be here. You can probably meet them at some welcome events, and hopefully you can be in some of these seats soon.
So cool. Thank you so much for giving us a sneak peek into the classroom. I hope you all have a great rest of your class. Thanks, Dr. Yueh.
Thanks.
And for the rest of the folks attending here, I just want to thank you for your time today. Hope you got some valuable information from our faculty. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have further questions or need further support. There's also more resources that you can join. UCR Live happens almost every Wednesday, and that's an opportunity for you to get some more specific details about our program, our school. Also, you have an opportunity to schedule a personal consultation with one of our admissions officers. So go ahead and go to our website at business.ucr.edu/graduate/admissions to get some of those details. I hope you all have a great rest of your evening. It was so fun to be with you tonight.